Guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check today's episode out. And guys, today we're going to be giving some tips and advice for catching bass on shallow running crankbaits in the month of August and really sometimes into mid-September. This is the time of year, it's the number one time of year to fish crankbait shallow in the summertime of the year, and I've got a lot of experience with this and got some good tips and techniques I want to share with you guys in today's episode, so we're going to get into that. Also, guys, quick invitation, anybody interested in checking out one of my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns, I'd like to invite everybody to do that. I'll put the link in the description. These are maps that I built, lake maps all across the country for the fishthemoment.com website. It's a great resource, guys, to learn more about any lake you want to go to and get some good places to fish on there. So I'll put that Fish the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description. I really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things is I've been talking about this a lot on my 3 channels over the past month because it's such a dominating technique for me anyway this time of year, is fishing small shallow running crankbaits during the August and September time frame. Now, here's what happens. It's like there's a lot of different ways to catch bass in the month of August and into early September. It's a tough time of year. Bass are really scattered. There's bass deep, suspended, shallow, both. But in terms of catching the easiest, most catchable fish, I don't think anything compares to fishing a shallow running crankbait. It's just a really good way to catch them. So I just really want to get into specifically what to look for and the baits that they use. Now, one of the things about it is you need to stay with a crankbait that is no more than 1.5 inches long. The 2 that I use, you hear me talking about this, is the Megabass Super Z2 and the Megabass S-Crank 1.2. I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of these if you guys would like to check them out. But these are the 2 that I use most all the time in the summertime of the year. They're both less than 1.5 inches in diameter, or excuse me, 1.5 inches in length. Both of these baits, the Super Z2, it'll get down to, I don't know, 6 or 7 feet on 8-pound line, maybe, 6 or 7, and maybe about 4 or 5 on the S-Crank there. So it covers a lot of different of the depth zones this time of year. So here's what you want to look for. Number one is you got to have some stained water. Stained water is the key element for the shallow cranking to work because a couple of different things. If you have the stained water, it's going to put the bass in that depth zone where these crankbaits work. And also there's something about when the water's hot and when the water's dirty, the fish do not want a large lure. They respond to a little small bait better than anything this time of year, even the better fish. So that's why your small crankbaits, your downsized, you like 4-inch worms, flipping and pitching them, little creature baits, little finesse jigs, little small spinner baits, 1/4 ounce buzz baits, small baits. If I could give you guys one piece of advice in August, fish small baits, unless you're fishing out deeper, and then the big worms and the big crankbaits could still work. But for shallow water, you've got to downsize your baits. And like I said, the crankbaits are the number one producer. So first of all, this is not going to work if you have a lake that has water visibility that is clear. You got to have no more than 2 foot of visibility. The best water visibility is going to be about 1 to 2 foot in clarity. That's going to position those fish where they can be caught. And then the cover needs to be some type of a rock and wood mix or combination. Now, if I'm fishing wood, let's say, for example, you've got lay down trees or logs or stumps in the water, that's normally when I'm fishing the S-Crank. Comes through the wood really good, the fish react to it really good. And if I'm fishing a rocky bank, the Super Z2 is going to be my choice. It gets down there a little bit deeper, roots around the rocks, catch a bunch of fish parallel on rocky banks with that. The only exception would be if the water is really dirty, like if you got water visibility of less than 1 foot, then the square bill is going to be a really good producer even on those rocks as well. So the places that I look for are the wood that's on flatter banks, for when I'm cranking the wood. So when you run up a creek arm or a river arm in the summertime of the year, you usually have 2 different types of structures. You got one side of the lake that has a steep bank on it, the channel bank, and then the opposite side of the bank usually has a flatter bank on it. The wood on the flatter banks are usually better. Don't be scared by fishing like 2 foot or less on there if you got the dirty water, but try to target any wood that you find on those flat banks. And on the steep banks, you want to target the rocks. Parallel the rocky banks, You know, channel banks, rock transitions, any type of rocky bank is going to be really good that drops off fairly sharp into deeper water. And also if you have riprap up there, riprap is going to be really good. And most of the time I'm fishing the S-Crank on 12 to 15 pound test Seaguar and VizX 4-carbon line, and on the Super Z2, probably my favorite is 8 to 10 pound test, you know, fluorocarbon, the Seaguar and VizX line on there. And if I'm fishing rock, guys, I fish these on a spinning rod. And the reason I do is you can make a longer cast with a spinning rod and you can get those baits deeper. If I'm fishing wood cover, bait caster with the square bill there. So anyway, guys, give them a try. It's like 2 of the best producers in the month of August when the fishing's tough. Little bitty crankbait. Again, I'll link these in the description of the video and hope it helps out. We'll talk later.